All right, welcome everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing some unbelievable information that was just released in regards to $227, $784, and $1,069 on a monthly basis, as well as what this means for the low income and fixed income beneficiaries of Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, spousal, SSI, VA, and RRB. That's the focus of the video. Let's get into it and talk through all the details. All right, now I do want to share with you the details of this new report that was released and the surprising dollar amounts that I'm going to share with you here in this video, and all of these are on a monthly basis as well. Now also, if you're interested in doing so and if you would like, I'd love to hear your comments and feedback and opinions down below in the comment section. Do you believe that the dollar amounts that I'm talking about here in this video are consistent with what you're also experiencing in your own personal life? Again, I'd like to read that down below if you want to as I talk through the details, but if you're not comfortable sharing, that's totally fine as well. Don't do it if you're not comfortable doing so, but I'd always like to read the comments down below to get a better idea of how everybody is feeling about all this information that's being released and what people are saying about what's going on. Also, these dollar amounts I'm sharing with you here in this video are causing a massive issue for the low income and those fixed income beneficiaries I mentioned just a second ago at the beginning of the video. So with that being said, let's jump into it and talk about this unbelievable information and how this is absolutely shocking, but at the end of the day, probably maybe not so shocking as well. So anyway, let's talk through it. However, really fast before we get into it, can I ask a huge favor of you? If you have not done so yet, or if you're new here, will you make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button right down below the video? It's totally free to do so. I'm here for you every single day. I'm watching the headlines, doing the research, advocating on your behalf, answering questions, and doing anything else I can right now to help you out in any way that I possibly can. Financially, it is really tough out there. The last couple years have been really hard for a lot of people, especially the low income and fixed income. And you may even see a little glimpse of that with exactly what I'm talking about here in this video as well. Yeah, it's going to paint a pretty clear picture for all of us to see exactly what's going on. So anyway, thanks for being here. I really do appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And please subscribe down below if you haven't done so. I'm here for you every single day, no matter what, watching everything and bringing you the details and everything so you can grab as much as you possibly can right now. It's a tough time no matter how you cut it, right? All right, thanks again. Truly appreciate it. Let's talk through the details of this report. All right, so the report came out talking about right now, presently, as we sit here in 2024, as well as the last couple years now, okay? So what is one consistent factor that we've all seen over the last, call it, I don't know, 3 years or so, right? It's not a mystery. We all know what it is. Should we say it together? Yeah, let's say it. Inflation. Yes, higher prices on everything, okay? Yep. Now, here's the thing. Do we need to be out located in some, special area to be experiencing inflation? No, not even close, right? We've all been dealing with the same thing for the last few years. In fact, maybe inflation is a little bit higher in some locations, in very high cost of living areas. Maybe it's a little bit lower in some areas, but the fact of the matter is, the last several years here, we've all been dealing with very high prices, rapidly rising prices, and we're all sick and tired of it, right? I'm not sure about you. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think we can probably say that it's probably safe to say we're sick and tired of it, and it's really frustrating, and we're ready for this to be, we're ready for prices to be done and stop rising and go back to where they were. Yeah, sorry, that's hopeful thinking. That's not unfortunately going to happen, but let me explain the details of this report now. Okay, so it looks over the last 3 years, okay? So here's what it looks like. Just in the last 3 years alone, if we look back 1 year ago from today, or right now this month, all of us on average, the average household right now is spending an extra $227 per month right now versus what we were last year at this exact same time on the same goods and services. No, that doesn't mean we're out buying expensive TVs and shoes and clothes and purses and perfumes and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying the same things, goods and services on rents and utilities and gas and used cars and insurance and healthcare and food and clothing, the necessities, all the things that we've been buying for the last several years, the necessities. The average household right now is spending an extra $227 per month right now over what we were just 1 year ago. That's massive. Has your income increased by $227 a month to account for that? No, I don't think so. Not for most people anyway. Maybe a small group of people out there have had an income boost of, say, $227 a month. I highly doubt it for the vast majority of people. Maybe a small handful of people. That's about it. That's just over 1 year, though. Now let's look back 2 years. If we look back 2 years compared to where we are today, so just take this month and look back 2 years ago. The average household right now is spending an extra $784 per month. Again, per month, not per year, per month on the same goods and services. And again, does that mean we're out buying designer, clothes and shoes and purses? No, doesn't mean that at all. It means that we're buying the same things that we were buying 2 years ago, and we're paying an extra $784. What are we getting for that? Nothing. Literally nothing. We're getting nothing more for that except for inflated prices, because prices have gone up that much in the last 2 years because of inflation. That's massive, right? Now, here's the thing as well. A lot of us think like, oh, this inflation is tough, right? Here's what it really comes down to. It's the depletion of purchasing power. In other words, our money is worth less, okay? Worth less. That's what I mean by that, okay? Because they printed $6 trillion in the course of about 1 year's time. They've inflated our, the prices so much, they've basically deflated the purchasing power. In other words, they've depleted the purchasing power of our money. So in other words, what this really is saying is that the $1 that we had 2 years ago is worth significantly less. That $1 today is buying us significantly less goods and services today than what it did just 2 years ago. And that's what it comes down to, okay? That's a lot of money. Now, let me ask you really quickly. Has your income increased at a pace of $784 more per month right now today compared to what it was 2 years ago at this exact same time? No, I don't think so, right? Again, maybe for a very, very, very small percentage of the population, like a very tiny percentage of people, maybe their income has increased that much on a monthly basis to account for this. But the bulk of people, the average person out there, not even close, right? So anyway, that's just over 2 years. Now, let's look over 3 years, okay? Let's just scroll back 3 years now, thinking back over the last 3 years here compared to this month that we're dealing with right now. Looking back 3 years, the average household right now, and again, this is average household. Some could be spending more, some could be spending less, but this is the average household right now. The average household right now is spending an extra $1,069 per month more right now today compared to what we were spent 3 years ago on the same goods and services. That's massive. By the way, that is what, $13,000 more a year right now today as far as what we're spending on goods and services versus what we were just 3 years ago. That's crazy. That's nuts. I don't know how else to say it. That's nuts, right? Who has that extra kind of money? Again, on a monthly basis, $1,000+ more on a monthly basis right now for the same old things. Like nobody, like virtually nobody has that extra money, right? No wonder why a huge percent of the population right now is struggling. They have like no money. It's no surprise. This is why. This is what's going on out there, okay? And it's all because of inflation driving prices higher, and in other words, our money becoming worth less and less and less because they keep depleting it, right? That's what it comes down to. So anyway, so now let me ask you a couple things here. So since virtually nobody has the income to keep up with these rapidly rising prices on a monthly basis, what is the option here, especially for the low income and fixed income? Have your fixed income benefits increased that much? The answer is no, not even close. How do I know? Because I talk about this every single day. I know the details about this. It is no surprise. Fixed income benefits have not gone up this much. So here's what it comes down to. If incomes have not gone up to supply this, have not gone up to supplement the extra increases in price, then what does somebody need to do? They need to cut back on their spending equivalent to their income to make up for this difference, right? So what this is really saying is that just in the last 1 year, low income and fixed income have essentially cut back on their necessities, have cut back on their maybe food, things like this, at a pace of about $227 on average. Now again, over 2 years, $784, and over 3 years, $1,069. So if your income doesn't go up to support that extra increases in price to actually get you the same goods and services that you were buying, that simply means that you need to cut back, right? There's only two options: increase income or cut back expenses. Those are the only two options, right? You can't just print out money and just pull money out of thin air like some people can, right? Some people can do that. We cannot do that legally, right? Anyway, so that's what it comes down to. And this is, again, unbelievable what is really going on here. And unfortunately, not only are we dealing with higher prices, but we're also dealing with this idea of shrinkflation as well, right? Maybe you've heard me talk about that before in other videos, but this is also a real thing. A few years ago, maybe you were buying, a 10-ounce box of cereal for $4. Now you're buying a 9-ounce box of cereal for $4.69 or some crazy price like that, right? So you're getting less for higher prices. Make sense? Yeah, this is a real thing. Just look at it. I mean, if you collect cereal boxes from years ago, look at the ounces on it, and maybe you still have receipts along with that. Probably not, but I'm just simply saying this is a real thing as well, and it's happening all across the board. So anyway, I like to bring reports like this to your attention because I want you to know what is really going on, and this is the averages across the board. Now, again, like I said before at the beginning of the video, if you'd like to share your personal experiences down below in the comment section, I'd like to read that. If you want, you don't need to. It is certainly not required, but I always like to read that to see what's the vast majority of the population doing, and are you also experiencing this with, your income and your prices and stuff like that across the board? But this is a rough situation. And again, like I said a minute ago, no wonder why everybody's struggling financially. Incomes are not going up at the pace of inflation, and they're not able to support these higher prices. So here's the thing as well. How many of us really cut back on our lifestyles? In other words, like how many of us are going to forego the food that we want to buy or the whatever it is that we want, right? Most of us maintain our lifestyles. I mean, that's just how it goes, right? A lot of times we find the way, whether it's floating a balance on a credit card or borrowing money, getting a loan or whatever. A lot of people have a hard time cutting back on their lifestyles, and rightfully so, right? It's kind of hard to, the lifestyle you're living to be like, well, now I need to cut back 10% or 20 or 50%, right? That's really, really hard for a lot of people. But unfortunately, that may be the case for a lot of people based on these reports and these numbers that I'm sharing with you here in this video. So anyway, just want to bring this to your attention really quickly. Again, like I said before, unbelievable, but at the same time, shocking, and maybe not all that shocking at the same time, just because, we've known what's been going on here. But would you ever would have guessed 3 years ago, the average household was spending $1,069 less on the same thing? That's a lot of money. I'm just imagining if you had all that extra money these days. That sure would be life-changing for a lot of people. So anyway, I hope this helps you in some way, shape, or form. Again, I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be, doing research every single day, watching the headlines. Anything coming out right now, I'll bring it to your attention immediately. So again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so, or if you happen to be new here, again, thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe. Otherwise, go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel, including those that are linked down below in the description or the top of the comment section. I've hand-selected those for you right there. In the video library, there's thousands there, or right now popping up on your screen, you'll see a bunch of videos showing up there. So go ahead and make your selection, and thanks so much for joining me. Check out that next video right now, and I'll see you again in just a minute in the next video.